Ronnie O'Neill. He's been a thorn in my side. And now he says he wants to cut a deal. He doesn't know what's coming. But first, let's go back to the beginning. A week ago, I got into Chicago. And as soon as I did, I started handing out my calling card. It wasn't long before I was building an empire and making contacts. I had a few ups and downs along the way. Eddie and Marie fell in love and ran off. And sure, Tammy's the best shot in town. If she doesn't show up drunk, that is. And Jack? No one would mess with Jack. Old Ronnie didn't take too well to my way of doing business. Now he thinks he's got me pegged. He ain't got nothing. What he doesn't know is I've been making deals all around town, and I got just enough cops to look the other way. Those who work with me are afraid of nothing. I almost feel bad for the guy. He's just a step on my way to the top. But if it wasn't me taking him down, it'd be somebody else. Think you got what it takes?
The Empire.
Come and get it.
Amazing. It may be their first time on the Xbox stage, but these two great developers have been making waves in the gaming world for years, making some of your favorite games. From Romero Games Limited, game director Brenda Romero and President John Romero, welcome to Inside Xbox.
Thank
with a
you.
big hand.
Thank you.
Wow. First of all, the game looks incredible. And so I believe you've had the idea for quite some time, and it was inspired by a local watering hole, is that right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, bars can be good for other things, like games, for instance. Among other
Where
things.
Where are you drinking?
So the bar, I grew up in a town in northern New York,
yeah,
and in Ogdensburg, and there wasn't a lot happening, but this one place in town was called The Place, unbelievably. That's its name.
Meta.
Still is called The Place. Anyway, The Place was the oldest continuously operating bar in the U.S. Now, whether that's true or not, I didn't know, but when I started asking my mom questions, like, why didn't the cops just shut it down?
Yeah.
The answers I got, she didn't want to give me answers that would be like, well, future game designer, here's how criminal empires are built. So instead, she didn't want to talk about the gray area, and she just sort of pushed me away. But it developed this fascination with criminal empires, and so Paradox was happy to turn that into a game. And I've always been fascinated with this time period. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and you guys did like a whole bunch of research, and I think it's like half of the bosses are kind of about half are fictional and half are actually sort of real, based on real people.
Yeah, I think the majority certainly are real.
Yeah.
In fact, John's great grandmother's in the game. Was I supposed to say that?
No,
I've said it.
Exclusive.
I've said it now. Yeah. So about half the bosses are real, and the other half are fictional characters that are sum up the era.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done a ridiculous amount of research into it.
That's brilliant. I mean, John, so obviously we've seen a little bit about kind of what the game's like. What's the main sort of player experience like? Going into this game, what am I going to be doing? What are we going to be doing?
Well, it's a strategy game, so there's a lot going on in it. And you have to manage your 4 main resources.
Okay.
Which is your money, your alcohol,
I'm not good at any of those.
RPCs, and the time that you have.
Okay.
And time's a ticking, and everybody wants to have the biggest empire. Of course, you start at the bottom at the beginning. But you do a lot of things in this game. You make a lot of crazy decisions, such as, you sell alcohol to, say, allies of yours. Well, you could sell some poison alcohol and kill a lot of other guys. You won't be allies after that.
I mean, no.
You can do a lot of really underhanded stuff in
nice,
this game.
But yeah.
That sounds really fun. And one of these sort of interesting things I was reading about was about the kind of recruitable playable characters. So you've almost got, they were saying that they're quite, like, got randomized traits, and then as the game progresses, their traits can shift, so they could be a bit more reliable, maybe? Less drunk when they turn up or something?
Well, so you start out, the characters, let's say you and I are both playing a game, and we both start out with Tammy.
Okay.
By the end of the game, your Tammy is going to be different than my Tammy.
Oh,
so your Tammy, depending on how you play the game, and the other characters that you recruit to play with her as well, your Tammy could end up being a serial killer. Mine could end up in love.
Wow.
So there's lots of different dynamic character things that build throughout the game that are a reflection of how you play.
That's really interesting. And one other thing I was thinking about was obviously, you know, kind of going to strategy games. Sometimes people are sort of like, oh, I just want to kind of hop in for, you know, maybe I don't want to commit sort of a full, you know, stint at it. And you can actually sort of play kind of smaller games. How does that sort of work within the game?
Well, the way we've done it, you can, if you just say, like, this is it, I'm not doing anything for the next many months, you can have a game with all the bosses.
Yeah.
All, like, as much as Chicago as you can probably handle, so you can take the full game, or you can say, no, I just want to play a few bosses and have a quick game.
I do need to go to work at some point in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it looks really, really fascinating. What do you guys think? It looks really fun, huh? Yeah? So, when can these guys get their hands on the game? That's what we want to know, right? When can we play it?
Yeah.
What date? What's the date?
Sorry?
When can we play it?
Spring 2020.
Spring 2020, so not too long to wait. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Brenda and John, for joining us and for being here. Now, we've got so much more to come, including, I don't know, a smallish, I don't know, what's that game called? Gears 5? I don't know. There's a bit of a showcase of something about that. Like, I don't know. Never heard of it. Later in the show, obviously. But before we get there, a graduation celebration is in order, because from the makers of